Welcome, everyone. We thank you for joining us today on Nubian Journeys. Once again, thanks for taking the time to join us on this beautiful afternoon. It's a little cold where I'm at, so hopefully you are warm. Once again, thank you, Lion Pride Music family, for allowing us to use your music for our intro. Welcome back. We are heading out and we're zooming down this week to another country in the Caribbean. I hope you're ready. Pack your suitcases and let's go. Today we are headed to Aruba. Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, sorry. We're heading to Aruba. Their motto is One Happy Island. We thank you for joining us. If you're looking at the map, you will notice that Aruba, there's a big arrow there saying Aruba, and it is close to Venezuela and Curacao. So let's learn a little bit about it. There are only about 108,000 inhabitants in Aruba. So if you're visiting, it's not a very big island. And so you will see that it's not going to be like New York or anywhere else where you have, millions of people living. There's 108,000 people. So you will also notice that it says Netherlands Kingdom. So what does that mean exactly? It means that Aruba is still under or a part of the Netherlands. So it was colonized by the Netherlands many, many years ago, which we're going to learn about today. And so they are still a part of the Netherlands, the Kingdom of Netherlands. And so the head of state is the king of the Netherlands, and Aruba is a constituent country within the kingdom. What this means is also that the king is represented by a governor, and the leader for the day-to-day activities of the country would be the Prime Minister of Aruba. But I learned something extra interesting about this island, which I did not know. Aruban citizens can use their passports in the Netherlands because they are Dutch nationals and citizens of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. What else does this mean? It means that they can travel, live, and work within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, but also in the European Union because the Netherlands is a part of the European Union. I did not know that before I started looking this up today, so I hope you learned something too. So that means that they can travel from the Caribbean to the Netherlands, but also the rest of Europe without needing a visa. So if you're wondering what the island of Aruba looks like, here you go. So just of note, the capital of Aruba is Oranjestad. I might not have said that correctly, but hopefully it's close. And so Aruba is not that large. It is about 29 kilometers north of Venezuela or the Venezuelan peninsula. The weather is tropical, but not that bad. 28 degrees on average. So if you're worried about hurricanes, this may be one of the islands you want to visit because they don't usually have hurricanes. They might have a little bit of the effects of an hurricane, but very rare do they have hurricanes. And so there you go. That would be a great place to visit for that reason also. So it's not that big as I've said before. Aruba is only about 20 miles long by 6 miles at its widest point. So the other thing to know is that the soil is, they say barren, but I like to say it does still produce, as you can see on the bottom here, drought resistant cacti, shrubs, and trees. So if you like that kind of feel, this would be the place to go. So to note also, most drinking water is mostly from desalination, meaning that they take the water from the ocean or the sea and they do a reverse osmosis or some other type of process, and then that's where you get your fresh water from. So in case you're worried when you go there, they have no need for bottled water as much because they've already taken the water from the sea, processed it, done reverse osmosis, and now you have your cleansed water. If you take a journey down to Aruba, which I'm hoping to do soon, the official language, well, there are two, of Aruba are Dutch and Papiamentu, which is a Creole which evolved mainly from Portuguese, Spanish, and Dutch. There is also English and Spanish spoken there, but you will hear that Creole there, which I think I've talked about in some other videos. Most Caribbean islands, we have our dialect, we call it, or Creole. And so you will notice that also. You will see on the screen also there's a bit of Chinese because you do have people moving in from across the world and unknown. So there you are. In case you go there, you can learn a few different languages, which is always a great thing. So the ethnicity, most of Aruba's population is ethnically mixed. So as I mentioned before, you will see the American Indian, which we like to say Arawak Indian ancestry, combined with Dutch, Spanish, and African heritage. Languages we just talked about in the screen before, so I won't say too much more about that. So you will see that, there's a mixture of people, so it's, everyone's welcome. If you're wondering about the religion of Aruba, you can see it on the screen there, that it's mostly Roman Catholic, of course, coming from, Spanish and Dutch background, so that makes sense. You also have Protestant a little bit, and then there's other or non-religious. There's also Jehovah's Witness also for a small minority, and then you also have other and non-religious. I think I said that. So one thing to note here about Aruba, the birth and death rates are both very low, and the life expectancy for both men and women are amongst the highest in the region. So in the Caribbean, they have the highest uh, life expectancy, and it is comparable to that of developed countries. So that's a great thing to know if you're thinking to move there. The economy is based mainly on tourism. So there is also the availability of offshore banking, meaning that if even though you don't reside there, you can have a bank account there and you can save money there. While it's not a traditional tax haven, it provides benefits such as tax advantages, enhanced financial privacy, and asset protection. So this is something I'm learning new today also. And also be aware that a part of their economy comes from free trade zones, which they have with certain countries such as Colombia, the United States, Curacao, Netherlands, Venezuela, and some others. They also have a data processing sector and, of course, the international offshore financial services, which I mentioned before. So once again, I will remind us that the original inhabitants of Aruba were the Arawak. There's a name that is used for them, which I will say in the next screen. And I probably won't say it right, but they were there before the Spanish invaded in about 1499. So between 1499 and 1505 is what I've found. And then the Dutch took over in 1636, and they've pretty much stayed there over the last almost 400 years. So between 1636 and now almost 400, yes. And so you will note that I think the next slide we explained that there was an attempt by the British to over the take over Aruba. It's at the bottom of this slide. Between 1806 to 1816, during the Napoleon Wars, the British invaded and took control of Aruba, but then it was returned to the Dutch. So I think these are pretty much the same as something I've said, but I will also mention here that the reason the Spanish arrived in Aruba was because they were looking for something called Brazil wood, or, that's a type of tree, which was used to make red dye. And so also because there were no precious metals and pearls there, the Spanish declared Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao as useless islands because they also didn't have a lot of water, fresh water. And I told you I would give you the name, so the Caquitios, somebody's going to tell me that is incorrect, is also the name that is used for Arawaks as far as I can find from my research. So I'm going to say Arawaks because that's easier. I've never heard anyone say Caquitios, Caquetios. So if anyone wants to drop that in the chat, feel free to let me know. All right, and here we are at Aruba. In 1986, Aruba obtained autonomous status to break away from Curacao, not necessarily from the Dutch. So they were always closely intertwined and called the ABCs of the Caribbean. So Aruba wanted to be its own country, its own thing, not to just be intertwined with Curacao. And so it is still under the Dutch rule. And so in 1994, they withdrew. They decided to postpone indefinitely the transition to full independence. If you listen to my other videos, you will know that there are other countries in the Caribbean who are independent. Aruba is not one of those countries. They're autonomous, but they're not independent. So this means that Netherlands still controls foreign affairs and national defense, but all internal affairs, including laws, policies, and currency, are regulated by the Aruban government. Culture. When you travel there, you will notice there's a vibrant mix of indigenous Arawak, Dutch, Spanish, and African influences. It looks amazing to me. So, be sure to go and visit and take me too, okay? So the currency there is the florin, which is represented by AWG or AFL, and it's almost on par with the US dollar, meaning that currently you can use $1 would give you 1.75 florin or a Aruban dollar. So it's pretty close, or the opposite way around. Let me just make sure I'm telling you that one correctly. So for the florin, it would be 1.77 and would give you $1 American dollar. So opposite way around. So 1.77 florin would be the equivalent of a US dollar. All right, and then food. Tons of food. As I started researching it, I started getting hungry. There is so much food there that I've never seen because there's such a mixture. You must try the foods and make sure you drop pictures and comments about the food if you go there, and let me know what you tried and how it was. The flag and coat of arms of Aruba. You can see them here on the screen. So it's got a light blue field with 2 yellow stripes and a red star, which symbolizes the sea, abundance, the beaches, and the people. And its coat of arm, which has there a few different things. There's a lion, an aloe plant, shaking of hands, a cogwheel, and a hill. And those represent power, prosperity, friendship, and the island's emergence from the sea. And you can see the green laurel there, which means peace. So this was adopted in 1976, and you can see it there on your screen. But the coat of arms was adopted, I think, originally in 1955. And the coat of arms there means you've got the lion, which I said is there also. And so there's a few different things there. Just you can look it up for yourself and let me know. I quite enjoy. I love the colorfulness of it. And what can you do in Aruba? So, when you think of the Caribbean, a lot of people just think of the beautiful beaches. And yes, you can go to the beautiful beaches in Aruba, but there's a lot of history. So, if you like history, this is a place to be. So, I found a few different things. They have tours, they have shopping hotspots, they have apparently a good nightlife and great restaurants. But I looked up two of them. There's a place called Antilla or Antilla, Aruba's largest shipwreck in Aruba. So you can go there, you can go diving, and you can go see what's there to see in that shipwreck. Um, and then you also have what a place called, now I'm gonna say this wrong, but be patient with me, Bushiribana. And that's a ruin, and it's an impressive testament to Aruba's gold mining industry. So you can go there and see. There's so much you can see. So if you do go, drop me a message beneath this video that says I went, this is what I did, it was great, and leave pictures too, because I'm very interested in going too. And for those who want to learn more, you can also visit online, visit aruba.com. They have a few more different things there you can see. And foods again. They have so much different foods, such a mixture of food. Go try everything and let me know what you tried. On the screen you can see sopi de pampuna. I might have said that wrong. And there's also keshiyena, which is a filled cheese shell. So there's so much you can see, so much you can do. Let me know what you see, what you do, and enjoy. And once again, I bring you back to this map. And now you know that Aruba is to the south of this map near Venezuela. There is, you can see it there near Curacao and Bonaire. And now you know a little bit more. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey with Nubian Journeys. Have a fantastic day wherever you are.